I didn't die, Mama. Not really. Mama Nena fell to her knees. Her voice cracked into pieces. Namdi, is it you? Tell me it's you. In the heart of Indiho, a village half forgotten by maps but never by the wind, lived a woman who never slept. Her name was Mema Nena. They said her husband died with his eyes wide open and mouth stuffed with agusi soup. They said her son vanished into the forest one rainy market day and came back. Never. They said the third room in her house had been locked for 17 years, yet every night, light flickered beneath its door, and bowls of food left outside it disappeared by morning. Mema Nena did not explain. She walked with her wrapper tied tight above her chest, her headscarf always damp from silent sweat. Her eyes, sunken, tired, unreadable, scanned every child that passed her compound as though searching for one face in all faces. She smiled at no one. But she cooked every evening. And every evening, she carried a calabash of hot food, jollof rice with smoked fish, or ofoha with pounded yam, or boiled plantains and palm oil stew, to room 3. No one ever saw her open the door. No one ever heard anything come from inside. But the food was always gone. The night the market boy followed her. Chaka, the nosy 14-year-old son of Mama Ajime the pepper seller, had had enough of rumors. On a Tuesday when the market closed early for the village elders' meeting, Chaka followed Mema Nena. Quiet like a shadow, fast like a squirrel. He saw her lift the calabash. He saw her whisper into the wood of the door. He saw her place the bowl down. He saw her step back. Then he saw the door creak open, not fully, not loudly, just a soft breath of movement and a pale hand reach out, bony and long, to pull the bowl in. Chaka's mouth dried like uncooked gari. He ran. By morning, he couldn't speak. Not even his mother's peppered soup could open his lips. Mema Nena's house begins to hum. That same week, things started happening. A goat tied by someone's shed was found dead, its eyes rolled up and mouth filled with sand. A baby laughed at midnight from a grave that hadn't been opened in 9 years. And the wind, the wind began to whistle only when passing Mema Nena's house, like it was trying to warn her, or join her. Still, she said nothing. Still, she cooked. Still, she fed whatever waited behind that door. But now, the villagers whispered more boldly. They called her the widow who fed ghosts. And deep inside room 3, something began to whisper back. In Indiho, you don't ask certain questions after sunset. Questions like, who opened the door in room 3? Why does Mema Nena still cook her late husband's favorite food? Or worse, whose laughter echoes from an empty room when everyone else is asleep? But as fear grew like overripe yam vines across the village, curiosity crept in too, slow and hungry. And that's when it happened. The ghost finally spoke. That Friday night, the moon sat crooked in the sky, like it was too tired to glow. Mema Nena stirred her pot of oha soup with snail, her hand trembling just a little more than usual. The smell was rich, earthly, the kind of smell that makes even dead memories wake up. She placed the hot food in the calabash, wrapped it carefully, and walked slowly to room 3. Her bare feet dragged slightly, as if the earth beneath her was heavier than before. She knelt, placed the bowl by the door. But this time, before she could whisper her usual prayer, she heard it. It's cold tonight, Mama. Add pepper. Her spine straightened like lightning had cracked through her bones. She looked at the door. Her lips quivered. Nah. Namdi. Add pepper, Mama. I'm hungry. Real hungry. Her heart screamed, but her voice didn't. Not yet. The room that shouldn't talk. The next day, the entire village buzzed. Chaka had started speaking again. But all he said, over and over, was, the ghost talked to her. I heard it. It was a boy, but his voice was dry like dust. Mama Nena didn't come out all day. Her compound was silent except for the strange low hum, like someone singing without breath. It came from room 3. That night, the door opened again. Not by a hand this time. Not quietly. It opened wide. And sitting just behind the frame was a boy, dark-skinned, skinny, about 12, with a white wrapper around his waist and cracked feet. He looked exactly like her son. Except his eyes were grey. Not blind grey. Dead grey. I didn't die, Mama. Not really. Mama Nena fell to her knees. Her voice cracked into pieces. Namdi, is it you? Tell me it's you. I was coming back. From the stream. The day Papa died. You told me to hurry. His voice had no joy. No tears. No sound of the world in it. But I didn't make it home. Not fully. He looked down at his feet. They were soaked. Not with water. With red, thick mud. The kind that buries you, or traps you between worlds. Something followed me, Mama. Something called me. I answered. But it wasn't just Namdi anymore. That night, Mama Nena fed him again. This time, she added pepper. He smiled, but when he smiled, his teeth weren't all his. Some were sharp. Like they belonged to a dog. Or something worse. Yet she kissed his forehead. She whispered, "Eat, my son." And he whispered, "They're still hungry. The others. The ones I met, in the red forest. You fed me. Now you must feed them too." A chilling final shot. Mama Nena cooking extra portions, her tears falling into the soup. Outside, 3 bowls now sit at the door to room 3. The door creaks open. 3 shadows reach out, with hands not fully human. The widow no longer feeds a ghost. She feeds a house of them. By morning, 3 empty calabashes sat neatly stacked by Mama Nena's door, cleaned, licked dry. The neighbors whispered about the sound of 3 voices chanting faintly between midnight and cockcrow. No one dared approach the compound. Even the cats stopped passing that side. Inside, Mama Nena sat on the bare floor, facing room 3. Her wrapper was soaked in sweat and tears. Her palms trembled as she chopped more bitter leaf. "Namdi, please. I fed you. Let the others go." Behind the door, a voice replied, not her son's this time, but a hoarse, growling voice she didn't recognize. "You opened the door, woman. Now feed us. Or we will eat from the village instead." The things she saw in her dream. That night, Mama Nena dreamt of the red forest, a place elders only spoke of when drunk or dying. She saw Namdi walking barefoot through blood-colored mud. Around him were children, dozens, maybe hundreds, faces blank, mouths sewn shut, each one holding a rusted spoon. Behind them towered a figure made of bones and fireflies, crowned in skulls, sitting on a throne of mortar and pestle. It raised one hand, and whispered, "You fed one, and the forest awakened. Feed 3, and we stretch. Feed 7, and we will walk freely again." Mama Nena awoke screaming, her body cold, her kitchen fire dead. The village council arrives. The next morning, Eldon Woke, leader of the village council, arrived with 5 other men and a native priestess named Adiz, a blind woman whose eyes saw more than the living. She walked around the compound, barefoot, whispering to the soil. Then she stood in front of room 3 and said, "What you feed is no longer your son. It is wearing him. And soon, it will wear others too." Mama Nena fell to her knees. "But he remembers me. He asked for pepper. He called me Mama." Adiz shook her head slowly. "Grief listens with its heart. But this thing speaks in the voice of what you lost." The council demanded to burn room 3. But Mama Nena screamed, truly screamed, for the first time in 17 years. If you burn that door, the forest will come here itself. And something inside the house laughed. That night, a sacrifice begins. At midnight, Mama Nena did something unthinkable. She went to the kitchen, prepared food for 4, not 3. She walked to the room, placed 3 bowls down as usual. Then, without speaking a word, she opened the 4th calabash, filled it with her own blood from a cut she made on her palm, mixed with red oil and goat meat. She knelt, tears dripping silently. Take this. But leave the children. Take me instead. And for the first time in years, the door opened, fully. Inside, a darkness darker than night waited. And something began to step out. Not 1 thing. Not 2. But a boy with grey eyes leading 6 others, each face familiar, each face once part of the village. And behind them, a towering spirit with no face, only a mouth. Mama Nena clutching her rosary with 1 hand, a kitchen knife in the other, staring into the doorway of room 3. Then, Mima, Namdi says gently, you must finish what you started. You must feed us, all. Blackout. For 2 nights, Mama Nena didn't sleep. She sat outside room 3, eyes bloodshot, lips dry, heart heavier than the mortar used to pound yam. Every hour, she heard whispers behind the door, like children singing a lullaby backward. But it was Namdi's silence that frightened her most. He hadn't spoken since that night. He simply watched her, through the open door, his grey eyes still and searching, like he was trying to remember whether he loved her or blamed her. The Shrine of Echoes. On the 3rd morning, Mama Nena walked to the edge of the village, barefoot, carrying nothing but a wrapper tied across her chest and an old gourd of palm wine. She followed the forest path, one she hadn't touched in over 2 decades, until she reached the Shrine of Echoes, where the air is always colder, and the trees lean inward as if listening. There, Adiz, the blind priestess, waited, her feet buried ankle-deep in wet soil, her eyes shut tight. You've come late, Adiz said. But the spirits have been waiting. It's my son, Mama Nena whispered. He came back, but not alone. I need to know what happened that day. Adiz did not speak at first. She dipped her fingers into ash and smeared symbols onto Mama Nena's forehead. Do you really want the truth, Nena? Or do you want comfort? Truth. Even if it burns. And so Adiz called on the spirits of that day. The trees grew quiet. The wind held its breath. And suddenly, Nena's mind was pulled backward violently into a memory not hers. Namdi's last day, the real one. The vision began in the stream. Little Namdi, barefoot, humming. A pot in one hand, his other hand playing with a stick. Then, he hears a voice. Do you miss him? A small figure in white steps from the bush, a child, younger than him, with no feet touching the ground. Your papa. He left you, didn't he? He didn't say goodbye. Namdi's eyes widened. He dropped the stick. You want him back? You want to make Mama smile again? The figure stretched out a hand. Just take this pebble. Drop it into the stream. Say your father's name. Innocent. Curious. Eager. Namdi did it. He said, Obina. The sky darkened. The water rippled upward. The wind shrieked like a mother in mourning. And the forest opened. Back to the present. Mima Nena gasped, stumbled backward from the trance, eyes wide. It was him. He called them. He opened the door. Adiz nodded. He didn't know what he was doing. But the forest remembers the one who invites it. So it wasn't an accident. No. It was a bargain. And he is part of them now. What Namdi says that night. That night, Mama Nena stood outside room 3. Namdi, she called, voice cracking, why did you do it? He stepped out slowly. Face blank. Voice soft. I just wanted Papa back. I wanted you to stop crying. I didn't know the price, Mama. I was just a boy. She fell to her knees. Then let me fix it. Let me send them back. He knelt too, eyes flickering between human and grey. You can't, Mama. They won't leave unless someone takes their place. Then take me. Let the children go. Let our village live. Namdi touched her face. His hand felt ice cold. No, Mama. It's too late for that. He looked behind him. And from the shadows stepped another face she recognized. Obinna. Her husband. Unaged. Pale. Smiling like a stranger. Hello, Nena. We heard you've been cooking. Mama Nena, staring at both her husband and son, returned, yet twisted, standing in the doorway of room 3. Behind them, faint voices chant again. Feed the door. Feed the door. Feed the door, or we will feed on more. The night skies above Indiho turned red. Not sunset red. Warning red. Crows flew backward. Goats refused to eat. Newborns screamed at the same time across different compounds. The village knew, the forest was no longer whispering. It was preparing to walk. Adi's preparation. Blind priestess Adiz smeared charcoal across her white eyes, her staff humming like a hive of spirits. The red forest has broken its chains, she told the elders. It walks through room 3 now. Soon, it will not need doors. What can we do? Asked Elder Nwoke, fear in his voice. One of us must go inside, not to feed, but to seal. With what? Adiz looked toward Mama Nena. With her soul. The forest took her child. Her love. Her grief. Now it wants her. If she goes willingly, I can bind it. Mama Nena didn't flinch. I fed them. I opened the door. Let me be the one to close it. The final walk. By midnight, the village gathered like mourners around Mama Nena's house. She wore her late husband's wrapper, tied tight. Her head was shaved clean. In one hand, a calabash filled with her final meal, yam pottage soaked in bitter tears. In the other, her wedding ring. As she stood before room 3, Namdi stepped out, eyes glowing. Mama, don't. I must. I let you be taken. No. I chose. I was just a boy, but I chose wrong. Don't choose wrong too. I'm not. I'm choosing peace for you, for me, for them. He cried. For the first time since he came back, he cried. Then, he stepped aside. The forest within the room. Inside room 3, the walls dripped with moss. The floor had become soil. Trees curved into the ceiling like ribs in a giant belly. The red forest was alive, breathing. And on the throne of bones sat the mouth without a face. Widow. Feed us. Mama Nena stepped forward. I will. Take me. Let the village go. But before she could kneel, Adiz stepped into the room behind her. No. Adiz. You were their door. I will be their chain. She struck her staff against the earth. Thunder cracked inside the room. Nena, speak his name. Call your son. Say his name with love. Not guilt. Mama Nena sobbed. Namdi, my son. My heart. I release you. I love you, and I let go. The room shook. Namdi screamed not in pain, but in release. He crumbled into ash and light. The trees began to rot. The throne cracked. The faceless spirit lunged toward Nena, but Adiz stepped in the way. Seal the door. With one final chant in a forgotten tongue, Adiz fell to her knees and vanished into roots and fireflies. The room collapsed behind her. Room 3 was gone. 1 year later. No one speaks of Room 3. But Mama Nena now runs a small orphan kitchen at the edge of Indiho. She smiles more. Not often. But when she does, her eyes shimmer like dusk after rain. One evening, a little girl asked her, "Mama Nena, why do you always add extra pepper to the stew?" She paused. Then whispered with a soft smile, "For someone who once forget what warmth feels like."